Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Apologize about getting started a second late here. All right, let's go over our disclaimer and get everything going that way. As always, I need to remind you guys about the risks involved in the market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, in addition to how big your lot size is and ultimately how that would affect your account if you lost money. All right, guys, so let's check out the news for today. I know the dollar has continued. Um, we had some CPI data this morning. I believe the dollar, yeah, it's continued down. That's what I saw. Yep. So we've seen a dollar slump, but there's really been no other news otherwise. With other pairs, there's some Aussie news later today, in the evening. But other than that, I think we've got the green light on most other pairs. So I just want to get our bankers close trade moving right now, and then we'll look for some other trade opportunities, and we'll recap a lot of our swing trades from last night, which did very well. So that'll be fun to talk about. Okay, so let's see here. I need to pull up 1 second. I'm pulling up my profiles here. Okay, let's do for the bankers close. I don't know why it's doing this. It's fine, but I had this set up nicely. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's just go euro pound on a 5-minute. That's not quite setting up right now. Let's look at the euro franc. That one's setting up. Let's go to that one. Yeah, I'll probably buy into this one. Let me take a look at the pound franc real quick, but we might just kind of do a duplicate trade from yesterday. Okay, this one's kind of high. Not a lot of order blocks to work with. So I'll probably go euro franc long. Yeah, for the banker's close. Yeah, let's do that. So let me adjust my lot size. All right, and let me go ahead and just build my starter position on the euro franc here. All right, and then I'm going to zoom in and okay, so let's draw out some of these levels too while I'm just getting into my starter position. So with the euro franc here, this would be kind of a demand zone, or yeah, demand zone right here. And so we definitely want to have buys in that block. There is technically a demand zone in this general area right here. So I probably for now want to put my stop losses below that. But just know that that is a possibility that the market could go to either one of these blocks. Yesterday, we thought the Aussie franc, that's the trade we took for the banker's close. We thought that one might have hit one of these boxes, but it never did. It actually just went in our favor for the most part, which we'll recap that trade too, because that was a pretty awesome trade. But yeah, let me go ahead and kind of scatter some of my orders in here, because obviously if it comes down, we do, especially inside this order box, we would definitely want to have some trades ready to go in here, because likely we'll get a move in our favor if the market comes in here. I think that's all I'll add right now. I don't need to add many more trades outside of that. I really think the market, if it's going to do what we want it to do, it should just either go up right away or it'll come down into that first block and then go up from there. I don't believe it'll come into the second block. That's kind of a long ways to go, especially considering there's no news on the franc, no news on the euro. Um, so this is kind of um, that'd be a lot to ask the market to do. I'd be very surprised if it had enough gusto to come all the way down to here. That's another 40 or 50 pips on the euro franc, which has a smaller ATR anyway. So I really don't think we'll get a move all the way down to there. I think this area is what you're looking at. So anything, in my opinion, anything a buy in this area would be good. And then, just ride that baby up a little bit. I'm going to bring some of these targets into something more realistic, though, kind of in this area. But we're basically looking for a duplicate trade from yesterday for the most part. Yeah, that'll be a really good opportunity. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I like this. Okay, so fun stuff. Now that we've got our bankers close trade in, we can probably chat about some of our swing trades. I had some really good trades last night. I am up on every single trade I took. I'm up over $8,000, which is just absolutely amazing. Um, and at least, let's see, we took this one together, this Aussie CAD, which is up almost $1,400. This Aussie yen short, that's a trade we took together. And then surprisingly, I didn't know this one would do so well, but we took this one together too, and it is up $3,200, which is really just amazing. This is another trade I took last night just on my own. It's just a banker's candle trade. I'll show you that one. It's up $200, not much yet. And then the USD franc is up $1,700. That is awesome. Really fun to see some gains there. So um, this is just really awesome, guys. So let's kind of recap each one. Yeah, we've got time. Let's do that while we let our bankers close trade do its thing. We'll recap. I think I've taken most of these trades on Alveo too. Let me check. I believe I had some trades close out for profit, which is awesome. But yeah, let's go ahead and recap all of this. So yeah, let's pull up the Aussie CAD first, and we'll go over that guy. And this is on an hourly chart. Oh man, look how close that almost hit my target. I wonder if I should close now, because that was a supply box up there, and that's why I had my take profit. So I'm wondering if that should close. Yeah, I gotta close that trade. Okay, so I'm closing the Aussie CAD long position. So take our money on that trade. And then you can see I had a sell up here, and you guys should have had it too. I posted this one for us to take, but look how close that got to our target. Dang. Um, the reason why that's up there is because obviously, as you guys know, there's probably a supply box up there. And so that's why in fact, let's go take a look at Trading View so you can see that. Let's go to Aussie CAD. Look at that. It came right to the supply box. Look at that. It came right to it and then came down. I guess I just didn't have I think maybe I had my target a little too greedy on that, because that would have been an extra, what, $1,200, $1,300. It would have doubled the trade had I closed out there. And not only doubled it, but where the take profit was where a sell was too. So not only would we have taken our profit on the buy, but immediately we would have switched directions and done a sell. So yeah, like I really think we could have easily made over $10,000 today. But I think you learn, right? Like maybe we should have had this. Like this is a trade I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for this to happen for like a week now on this pair. And it's fun that it's finally happened, and it's happening basically to the way we've wanted it. other than I think my target and my sell limit were a little too far away, like just barely too far away. But you can see like that's just so cool. Like we're doing something right, obviously, because you know we drew out this zone a week ago. This purple box here, this has been on our minds for a while now. Why did we do this? If you look at an hourly chart, that's where we do most of our trading. Why is there a supply box up here or a couple of supply boxes? Well, if you go to the left side of the chart, let's see, if you go back in time, you can see, okay, here it is. This is the one I'm thinking about. So basically, back in May, this market made a high, kind of consolidated to a downward consolidation, and then made a pretty distinct support level right here. Okay. And that support broke. Okay. So it's a break of it's called a break of structure. Okay. So structure broke. And we want to find out what was the thing that caused the break of structure. That is the key, right? Like what caused it? Oh, well, this thing, whatever the markets were doing here, whatever orders were placed in this area is what caused this, right? And it was pretty dramatic. Like pretty much there was a consolidation for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 bars that was pretty solid. And then after that eighth bar, the market just fell apart and it never came back. Like it just fell apart. I mean, it did come back some weeks later. Well, actually, not weeks, like months later. I think it did come back to revisit. No, it never did, guys. Wow. Okay, so that made it even stronger because the longer that thing goes without being touched, the more likely a rejection will happen when you finally touch that level again, which we just did last night, which is so cool. Like we hit that level for the first time since May, and like people are like, well, that's just a lot of work to do. Why would you, that's all, why do you have to go back to May or April or March to find out stuff? Guys, it's how, like, if you want to wake up to $10,000 in profits, like it's just homework you got to do. And I think it's worth it. Like if you go back, it's not too hard to find these, all you're doing is you're just going back and looking at it and saying, hey, that is a big move. What caused it? Oh, this thing right here is what caused this move, right? Like whatever this was. Okay. And then you go back and there's another one right here. You're saying, okay, this is a downward consolidation. I would say, I mean, this one's kind of confused, not as clear cut, but you might be able to include like this and say, yeah, this is a consolidation slash support, which finally gave way right here. Like it fell away right here. And then it tried to retest and it never came back after. I guess it retouched right there. But yeah, this is your main, I'll delete this. This is your main supply box right here. And you can see here we are, months later, and we just hit it today. Isn't that monumental? No one's going to tell you that. Like there's not going to be like a news article saying, hey, on Yahoo Finance or MSNBC, they're not going to come out and say, oh, the Aussie cat hit a supply box for the first time since May. Like, no, they're not going to tell you that. This is stuff that we have to do beforehand. We have to be diligent to find this kind of stuff because this is monumental. Like this is such a pinnacle move right here that matters so much. And for me, I wish I had closed via take profit because we were that close. But this is also like, this gives you reason to be like, oh, I need to get out of this trade now. Like I'm long. Okay, great. I'm up $1,300. I got to take this profit now and feel good about taking that profit because you did a job well done on the trade, analyzing the market. Um, like take that money, take that profit for sure. Um, so another thing too, like, why did I buy this on the way up here? There's a couple of reasons why I bought this. Um, One, you can use the Sonar Lab indicator. I like to use that too. I know a lot of you guys like it. Um, it's awesome. You can pull this up in addition to finding your own order blocks. So anything in purple is my own order block, right? And then the green and the blue ones, which I don't see any blue ones on here, but green ones belong to that indicator, which is kind of nice because it does show you where some other order blocks are, which you can use to help aid with your trade. But what I was doing is I think I was on a 2-hour time frame, and maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was just on a 1 hour. I had a lot of order blocks pushing this thing up, and I thought to myself, well, hey, hang on. Oh, I know what I did. This thing's only getting green order blocks, and this was several days ago before this market hit that high today. And I also looked at a 2-hour time frame, and look at this. Up here, there are so many on a 2-hour time frame. The indicator Sonar Lab is showing that there's order blocks, sell order blocks, like an insane amount of order blocks up here. Not only that, but we identified our own order block, right? Everything in purple here is our own. Inside that, there's 2 order blocks that are sells, right? Inside of our own analysis. The Sonar Lab has a couple of order blocks inside there, right? So that's liquidity. All of this is liquidity, and the market was down here at the time. So if the market was down here, which is still high, like, I know how I used to trade. I don't know if you guys used to be like this. If you've been following, I mean, I used to coach at another company, and I used to do this, and I feel bad because I wasn't very good at the time. But I used to do this kind of thing where, like, I'd look at the market and I'd say, oh my gosh, look at this. The market's so high, that thing's got to come down, right? Like, it just can't stay up there, right? And I would just kind of naively just sell. Like, I would just sell up here because I thought the market was high. It was very subjective, like, hey, market's high right now, I'm just going to sell. So I'd punch in a sell, and then the market, maybe it'd go in my favor a little bit. And if I'm lucky, I'd get out and take my profit. But then, this would happen. And I'd say, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, how can the market just keep going up like this? This is insane. And I'd sell more and I'd sell more. And yeah, I'd blow accounts like that. I mean, it's just the classic way to blow an account, trading exactly like that. And it just keep going up. And I'm like, this is crazy. How does this happen? And I just keep selling, and then, your account gets blown. So we trade a lot differently now, right? Like, we actually go back and find out if, like, we actually have to have a reason to sell, and it needs to be based off supply and demand. Like, we have to have a supply and demand reason to actually execute a trade. Like, we won't just execute a trade just because anymore. We have very, very solid reasons why we take trades now. And even when those trades don't do well, because we do have those, everyone has those, like, we actually stop out of those trades, and, like, we'll actually stop out. We won't hold the trade forever and cross our fingers. Like, we won't trade like that. I used to trade that way, unfortunately. So anyway, so I was looking at, again, a lot of green supply boxes on a 1 hour, and I guess a 2 hour. And in addition to that, if you pull up the 2 hour, this is all liquidity. Everything up here is sell liquidity. It didn't exist right here. It didn't exist here, but it's all up here in between these 2 blue lines. So I knew that if the market were to come up into here, that is where you should feel comfortable selling. And obviously the market tried to, and immediate was like, nope, I'm out. I'm not touching that. Right. So anyway, fun stuff, right? And last thought too, I know I've spent a lot of time on this trade, but I am spending a while on it because it was such a good trade. And it's just so classic in terms of what we're looking to do with these swing trades. The only thing again that I wish we had done better is maybe targeted a little sooner, and also perhaps getting into the sell order a little bit sooner as well, because we could have easily flipped, made 3 or 4 grand on the buy and then immediately flipped to a sell, and we'd be up a couple grand on that sell right now too. So yeah, we definitely left a lot of money on the table. Maybe some of you got into that trade. I don't know if you were lucky enough to be able to grab that. But at the very least, I'm still glad that we did this right. We still made money, and more than the money, I'm just happy that we're doing things right. Like we're actually trading really, really well, which is awesome. Um, so yeah, we knew liquidity was up here, and because liquidity was up there, I knew the markets would want to try to get back to it, especially when the market was down in here. So I kind of knew, okay, this isn't going to be the top. This is not the top of the market. We should continue to buy this, and that's why we continued to buy, rode that thing a ways. Okay. Could we hop in the sell now too? I think definitely that's a possibility. I'm kind of mad because obviously the reward to risk ratio would have been so much better had we sold up here like we were hoping. But you could potentially get into the sell if you wanted to. I know for me, if the market came back and retested some of these zones, I'd be even more interested in selling. But okay, let's go back to here. Let's look at some of our other trades that we're in. Aussie yen, that's up a couple grand. Let's take a look at that trade. Oh, let me go ahead and close that sell limit now. So we're out of that trade. Aussie yen trade. Okay, this one obviously coming down nicely. It actually got somewhat close to our stop loss yesterday. I kind of wish we had added to it, but we got within 43 pips of our stop. We're now up on this trade, just over 50 pips or so. Great little trade. Let's talk about this one. Let's go to Trading View, pull up AJ. Okay, so here's AJ. We sold down here, right? Obviously, we're in kind of this area. That's where we sold. We're up 50 pips on this trade. Why did we sell this one? This one's similar. Like I have my own supply box or demand box down here. There's a big demand in this area. If you go back in time, you can see back in May, this is the demand box. Why is this the demand box? This is what I want you guys to pay attention to. Consolidation right here. What followed this consolidation? This huge move that lasted like a whole month in the summertime. Look at that. That thing is huge. What caused it? Whatever dirty business they did here, right? Whatever they did here caused this, right? And so that, and then obviously, look at this. There's a big supply bot or a green sonar lab. You can see here. There it is, flashing it right there. That's from Sonar Lab, and it's basically where I have mine set up here. I actually might bring my entry up just a little bit, because Sonar Lab has theirs up just a little bit more than I do. So, but that's the demand box right there. So since we know that that's demand, there's also another demand right here. You have to go back all the way to March of this year, but yeah, this is another solid one right here. That caused that huge move, pretty big, right? So you've got two really obvious boxes here on the hourly time frame. So now you move forward, knowing that context. You can see it hit one time right there, then came up. Having this context coming forward to the current market, what we know is this couple of things. Most of the demand is down here. It's not up here. Where the market's sitting right now, there's no demand. No one's looking to buy right now. No one's buying the Aussie yen up here. Where are the banks willing to buy? They're willing to buy here. and maybe down here. That's kind of a long time ago. It's possible they're willing to buy down here too, but I'm sure they are. I'm sure they'd be willing to buy if it came down here. It's just so far away though. So this is what we're dealing with right now though, is on the hourly time frame, they want to come here at 91 cents, 90 cents. We're currently at 92 and a half. We were at 93 and a half the other day, almost 94. um, they want to come into here because this is where they're willing to buy. This is where they had buys in the past. So yes, they do want to return to that level if they can. Um, so basically what we're doing is we're identifying where liquidity exists, and we know it's kind of down here, right? So, and we're how far away from that? Like we're currently, even though it's come down a little bit, just to the earliest levels of liquidity, it's 90 pips away, guys. Like that, there's still a solid 90 pips in this move left. Solid 90 pips. I'm thinking, honestly, it's probably going to go 170 because that's where my supply box is. And I didn't really trust some of these other supply boxes. So I think there's 170 pips to go, at minimum 90. Like you've got 90 pips to go on this. Right now is a absolute terrible time to buy the Aussie yen. Terrible time. Like, and there will be people who are buying it right now. I know I used to be this guy. I used to look at this on a 5-minute chart. I used to be like, oh my gosh, look at this thing. It is coming down. Like that, that's crazy. Like, I'm gonna buy this thing and I'm gonna ride this, and it's gonna come back up because it's hitting a support level. So it's gotta go off of support. Wrong, guys. Like it's not going to do that. Like this thing is going to just absolutely just fall apart. It's going to come into these supply zones. People are going to get margin called. Once all of that's been reconciled, then you might see a move up again. But it's going to be down in these levels down here, right? Another thing, okay, looking at the 1 hour chart, look how many sell boxes you've had recently in the last couple of days. Guys, there's like 6 or 7 boxes right just here. Absolutely insane. Like the amount of selling pressure and willing selling pressure up here is just absolutely off the charts, guys. Like the banks are obviously willing to sell this guy up here in a big way, and they did it again right here. You got another sell box right here. um I know it's at support, and markets like to bounce off of support and resistance, but markets also like to break support and resistance at some point. And I think if any pair has a case to break support right now, it's this one, right? And I'm not saying it'll happen today, like completely, but it'll happen very quickly. Like when this thing finally decides to break through this level, it's going to be hard and decisive, and it'll happen when you're not watching it. So you got to be ready now, and you got to have the trade in now because it's just going to happen. Or you could, this is a safe trade in my opinion. Like you could just be one of those like breakout traders where you put a sell stop right there and you wait for it to break through that level. You could do that. Um, they're kind of risky sometimes because the markets can do what happened yesterday, where it comes up, retests some resistance, and then comes back down. Sure. Yeah, definitely is a possibility, but this is going to be a great trade, guys. So I know we're up, what did I say? We're up $2,000 on this trade. We're just getting started, guys. Like, don't close that trade for profit yet. That's a mistake if you close that trade for profit. There is a lot more to go on this trade. You heard it here first, right? Like this is recorded. A lot more to go on this trade. Now, with that confidence, like I just got a little disclaimer again. I know I put a disclaimer at the front. Like I don't want you to go mortgage your house and put, a short on AJ here that's gonna put, if it loses, you lose everything. No, do not do that. I'm never asking you to do that type of thing. Like on this trade, I still have my risks planned out. Like I think I'm risking about here, let me double check. I think I'm risking, and honestly, I don't need to have my stop all the way up there anymore. I can move it down to this old supplies, this most recent supply zone. If I lose on this trade, I'm going to lose $3,900. That's within my trade plan on this account. That's not a house. That's not mortgaging my farm. That's not, mortgaging my car or ruining my life savings or anything like that. It's just within my trade plan. So I recommend that you trade within your trade plan too. So, um, trade your rules, like trade within your rules, and you'll be fine. But yeah, I mean, there is still risk involved. Like I don't feel comfortable quite yet bringing my stop loss to break even though I'm up a couple grand. Like I still have quite a bit of money that could be lost here, and I do want to make that clear right now. So, um, but yes, with but the reason why I feel like I can talk in such confidence is because I've already put in my safety measures, like the stop loss is in, guys. The research has been done. So research has been done, stop losses in. I can feel happy now. Like now that I've taken care of business where business needs to be taken care of, I can look at this and just be like, yep, that's a good trade and get really excited. I can absolutely do that right now, right? I have that liberty to do so and get excited about this trade. But yeah, so support should be broken here in the next, I don't know how long, but it could happen today, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen next week. But the way I'm seeing this, guys, this thing's coming back into liquidity, which is down here. So yeah, get ready for that. So that's a fun trade, and we are up 22, almost $2,300 on it. Obviously, let that guy continue to go do its thing. Aussie Kiwi, this one is up the most right now, up $2,800. It's a very similar trade. Very, very similar trade. Let's take a look at the Aussie Kiwi. It's almost an identical trade. Oh my gosh, look how close it got to the TP. Oh man, look at that. That's on an hourly. What does it look like on a 1 minute? How close was I? On a 1 minute chart, I was within, I should probably close this one now. I wonder. I was 3 pips away from my TP on that guy. So let's do an analysis on this guy real quick because, this may determine if we stay in this trade or not too. That's why we're doing this. Okay. Real quickly, how's our bankers close trade? Not doing much, just kind of hanging out, down just slightly. That's fine. I just wanted to check in on it. Okay, fine. We'll let that do its thing. All right. So this trade, okay, yeah, let's take a look at this. This is awesome too, guys. It's just so freaking cool, man. I love days like today. Look at that. We sold right there. Right there, we sold. Boom. Almost $3,000 of profit, just like that. Okay. Why did we take this trade? Okay. Well, this is just SonarLab. This is not even my own analysis, but with SonarLab, look at this. You have all this selling pressure, all these sell blocks, right? And then recently you had a bunch of sell blocks right in here. When you see sell blocks inside of a consolidation that's at a supposed support level, it's likely that support's going to be broken. It's the same thing that's happening on the Aussie yen right now. And it's going to come back to where demand is, and demand is in here, and it looks like we're right at some demand. Let's go back and look. I suppose there's some supply levels over here that we're not aware of or that I'm not seeing. I mean, demand levels, I mean. Yeah, like this is definitely like this whole thing right here. That's a whole, that for me, that would be considered a supply box, demand box, sorry, supply. I get confused, but like technically supply boxes are at the top and demand boxes are down below. So this would be a demand box right here. Demand because people are willing to buy it back up, and then supply boxes are at the top because that's where too much liquidity, too much supply exists, and people are not demanding the market as much anymore. So thus there's supply at the top, if that makes sense. So Yeah, this this is something to consider. Like we're in a demand zone, yep. Right here. This is how I would have drawn it out. And Sonar Labs saying the same thing. So I think, guys, I think we should take our money on this trade. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna TP out. It was 3 pips away from hitting it before, but yeah, we'll take our almost $2,900 on that trade. So boom, I'm out of that trade. That's awesome. That just feels, doesn't that feel so good? It just feels so good. Okay, so next trade, I guess Aussie yen, we're going to stay in that one. We determined that one needs to stay in. We're now up 24, almost $2,500 on that trade. Not going to close that one out just yet, but keep it on. Leave that one to ride. These other 2 trades are trades I took on my own last night. We can evaluate those to determine if those should be closed out or not. But let's pull up the pound Kiwi first. Actually, I want to do the USD franc because that one's up a lot. And I want to see. Oh, I love this trade. Oh my gosh, isn't that so cool? It did exactly what I was hoping it would do. This is a trade I took late last night. Um, I love it. Guys, look at my stop loss, entry, and where the market is now. What kind of reward to risk ratio is on that trade? We don't always take them like this. So just to be fair, like we do have some trades with larger stop losses. When I say larger, like we will take a 1-to-1 trade. Like we will take a 1-to-1 reward to risk ratio if the trade looks really, really good. There's nothing wrong with a 1-to-1 reward to risk ratio if you're taking a really good trade. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just going to say that right there. But obviously, if you can get a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5, I mean, anything higher, why not? Like take those types of trades because those are the trades where you're going to win big, lose little. Like look at my stop loss on this. You can see right here, it'll show you what my risk is. It says $535 I'm risking on this trade. You can see over there, like I'm grabbing my stop loss. It'll say you're risking 20 pips and $535 or whatever. And then obviously we're up over like 2 grand on this trade. So we're up 4-to-1 as of right now. 4-to-1, guys. That means we could take 4 total trades after this. Like if we took duplicate trades with 4-to-1 reward to risk ratios on this trade type of setup, we could lose 4 times in a row and still be at break even at this point because I'm probably going to pull my profits here in just a moment. But why did I take this trade right here? That is the secret question, and you guys are going to find out in just a second. So I took this trade on a 15-minute chart. When I'm doing a lot of overnight trades that are meant to be just overnight, I will trade on a 15-minute. Let me remove Sonar Lab here. Okay, so here I got a blank chart. Here's where the market was last night. It was just kind of hanging out in this consolidation here. And I thought, okay, hey, this thing is extremely shorted right now. Like you can even see Trading Views saying it's a strong sell. I was like, looking at this, like obviously lower highs, lower lows. Looks like it just wants to continue lower. And then I noticed this big candlestick. This is called a banker's candle. It's the last big candle to the upside before the market starts to come down. So I know it's not a green candle, but it still made a high on that candle. So that's why I'm counting it. So it's also known as an FU candle just because it's got a huge wick on the top. I'll let you guys decide why it's called that. But it's all, and again, the proper name, formal name would be just banker's candle, right? So it's a banker's candle. And I saw this last night and I said, um, market will probably find liquidity right here. So what I did is I just basically drew out my box around the candle, drew the market over. I put a sell limit right at the bottom of this and a stop loss above it. And the rest has been history, right? Like just, I risked 20 pips and I'm up 80 pips right now, guys. right? And yeah, small losses, right? I didn't even take a single loss last night. All my trades won or didn't trigger. All my trades either won or didn't trigger. And that's the way you want to be. So yeah, it's just on a 15-minute chart. And it was based off of the context. Like obviously this market's been down, it's been forming lower lows, lower highs. It had one final push right here after this move down. And I thought, if this market wants to continue lower, it'll probably return to liquidity, which is right here, and then push lower. It certainly did. And the rest has been history. Should we close the trade now, or is it done? I don't really know for sure. Technically, there's a supply box all the way down here. There is some resistance support right here. I don't know for sure, guys. Like I couldn't say for sure if the market would or wouldn't. Um, that's a long ways to go to this old supply box. But here's the box that I've drawn out. Technically, this is also a supply box that I haven't drawn out yet, right here. So we could draw that one out too. Like that's a pretty obvious one. I'm surprised I didn't draw that one out, actually. But yeah, if you bring this forward, we're almost there. We're pretty much there. Yeah, probably a time to take our trade. It's just fun, really fun trade though. Like really fun trade. Cannot complain, right? Cannot complain. And I'm sorry that I didn't get this one out to you guys. I hope you forgive me, especially because all of our other trades just did so freaking well. Like we absolutely murdered this market last night. We robbed the banks in every single way. Like just absolutely amazing. So yeah, I think it's time to close. We'll take our money. I'll take my $2,060. Boom, done. I'm done with that trade. Um, but yeah, like great little analysis. And this was just a trade, like everyone went to bed, in the house. Like I just went to my office and just like this is just like something I do at night. Like just one of those like nightly, like look for banker candle trades, look for supply demand zones. Um, just calm, collected type of thing, looking for a trend in the market, trying to find continuations of that trend when the market returns back to supply demand. That's all I was looking for, right? A lot of the trades that we took together are the same thing. This one's a little different because it's mainly based off of a single candlestick, which isn't, how do I say it? Like you can find either supply demand zones based off of what you and I do together, or you can find supply and demand zones off of single candlesticks. Um, when I'm doing that type of trading, it'll be like on a 15-minute chart type of thing. So it's a little bit of a lower time frame. Um, and it has to be kind of an obvious candlestick. So with this one, I felt like it was obvious because this market was in such a downtrend. Like it formed a candle right here that had a very large wick at the top. Market had never retested it. So I felt like, oh, hey, this market will want to retest that level before it comes down again. And we had a lot of other zones like that. Like, look at this. This is technically, um, this is a banker's candle right here. I'm sure you guys might have seen that already, right here. And the market did retest that, came down. This is another banker's candle right here. Boom, the market retested that, then came down. I don't know if I'd call these banker's candles. This one probably was one, kind of a larger candle. Yeah. That one's kind of in an uptrend at that point, though. I don't know if I would have traded it that way. So you're kind of just looking for stuff that's already in a downtrend or in an uptrend and then working that direction with it. And then what's so cool about this type of so here's what I've learned about this type of trading supply demand zones. If you're basing it just on a single candle, typically your stop loss is pretty tight. That's a bonus. That's a pro of that strategy. The condo is, I feel like I have a lot more losers with this type of a strategy because one, your stop loss is tinier and you're not working off of like a whole zone where there's a lot of liquidity. You're just based offing it off of like a single area. I'm just curious, does Sonar Lab have a box here? They actually didn't include my, I'm surprised they didn't. That's definitely where I sold, was definitely a supply demand zone, and it didn't count it. It counted this one, which the market hasn't returned to that one yet. It counted this one later in the evening, but I was already in my trade at that point. Anyway, that's a fun little trade. Really happy with it. Okay, last trade to recap is this one. It's only up $100 right now. It's the pound kiwi. Should I be in this one still? Let's find out. This one, interesting. Okay, so okay, let's go to the pound kiwi over here on TradingView to do our analysis. Okay, maybe I did take a loss last night on one trade. Let me take a look. Did I? Because I have a box lined up right here. I wonder if I hit that. Did I? Yes, I did. I did have one loser. It was on the pound kiwi. I did lose $420 on a trade. Um, to be honest, it got that loss, that one loser got mixed in with all of our profits last night. So just super awesome. Even though I did hit a loser, look how tiny that loser is in comparison to the winners here. You know, barely any difference. So here's what I was looking at here on the pound kiwi. If we go back here, so last night the market was down in here. We were making lower lows and lower highs, you know, obviously a downtrend. So I'm looking for only sell opportunities. And, you know, market was down here. I saw a Vinker's candle right here. That little green candlestick was the last green before this market broke structure and came down. So I thought, you know, hey, maybe that could be a good sell zone. And it looks like, um, and this is my bad, I think I forced the trade. It kind of already hit that sell zone right there on that candle and then started to go down. And so I was just re-pushing. I was pushing the same trade again. And it actually looks like it did okay. Like it came up here, maybe hit the stop loss, maybe didn't, came down in my favor a little, and then later came back up. This one is now in another supply demand zone. So this whole thing's a supply demand zone right here because you've got, honestly, I'm just counting like this candlestick. That green candlestick is the main one. Um, that's the last major candle up before down. So that's kind of my banker's candle here. And that's what got me into this trade. And it got close to my stop, never hit it. And it's come down a little, but it hasn't really come down hard yet. So I'm wondering if this trade maybe might be good to get out of because obviously it's not, it looks like it wants to continue even higher. I think I will just to preserve some of our profits today, and I'll take my $60 on that, and I'm done with that trade. But again, back to this, um, if it's gonna work out, it should just come and hit the supply demand zone immediately, and then just go down from there. So for the first 30 minutes, this was a good trade. Like it came up and then started coming down. You wouldn't have wanted to close yet because yes, it's just pushing down. But for the last 45 minutes, it's actually kind of tried to come back up again. So I wouldn't say I want to stay in that one anymore. Plus we're up so much, I don't want to give any of that away. You know, easy come, easy go. Let's not let it go. Let's keep that money. But I do have another trade up here. This is another kind of supply and demand zone. Um, if the market got up to there, I think that might be worth selling at. So I'm going to leave that sell limit up there. You can see it right here. It's just basically counting this candlestick right there, that last green one, basically. If the market got up to there, let's see if we can get this thing to pull back a little bit. Well, great. And the rest of these are all supply demand zones. I don't think obviously they haven't triggered. I don't know if they're still worth trading. Let's look at the CAD yen. Yeah, like I was looking to sell this last night. Obviously, great idea, but it just never got back up to where I was trading. Here, let me move this out of the way and let's go look at each trade individually. So, like, yeah, the CAD yen, yeah, great idea, right? Like you can see, um, I had a sell here, a sell here, and a sell here. Just look, each one of these was a nice little supply demand zone. I was just thinking, hey, if the market comes up to any one of these, I'd be willing to sell. Obviously, it never did, and that's fine. It just went down without me. So I can close those 3 trades out. I'm going to close those 3 now on my own accord here. And then pound Kiwi, we already talked about that. And then NZD CAD. Let's pull that one up. This one's really far away. So I was looking for buys on the NZD CAD otherwise last night. But oh yeah, my buys all the way down here. That's so far. Yeah, that's kind of irrelevant now. I'm going to close that one out. Never triggered. But yeah, it's like that's the last candle down before a big move up. So yeah, if the market returned to this supply zone or demand zone, I think a good buy would be there. I'm not sure why I drew this one out. Okay. I'll have to look into that one, but now I'll just go to delete it. And then on the Kiwi dollar, I also had a buy that never triggered. It looks like it just kept going up. It's actually in a sell box right now, which is interesting. Where did I have this buy in? All the way down. Oh, all the way down here. Dang. No, it's just right here. So I'm going to delete this actually. So I have a buy right now. I'm probably going to delete it though. Yeah, that's where I was going to get in, right? Unless, let's see, no, that goes back that far. I'm just looking at November 3rd. Yeah, so, okay. So yeah, I do have a buy. Basically, this is where I'm at. This is a nice little supply demand zone right here. Why is that a good one? Because look how big this candlestick is, guys. That huge, massive bull candle, and it never relents. It just keeps on going, right? So whatever they did right here that broke this nice structure level, this nice support on that single candle, obviously they knew something. So if the market comes back into this in this purple box, that's absolutely a trade you want to take, that I'm going to take if the market comes back into here. So I'm actually not going to delete that Kiwi dollar trade because this is one of those, like, you just can't miss. Like, you just can't miss this. Look how strong this support is too, that the structure that broke, so strong. It has touches here, touch here, touch here, touch here, touch, multiple touches, and then absolute disrespect by a single candlestick. Absolute disrespect, right? And it's all whatever happened right here that caused it. So yeah, you want to have a buy for sure right in here, and feel comfortable with a stop loss just outside that. Like, I know it sounds crazy to have a tight stop loss like that. Maybe it doesn't. I just think it sounds crazy because of my upbringing in Forex. Like, I was never taught to trade this way when I first started trading Forex. The company, I'm not to hurt the other company I used to work for, but I was never taught this. I didn't know about this stuff until I did my own research. But like you can literally trade stuff like this, as you guys know now, and get away with these tight stop losses. Like I thought it was impossible to have tight stop losses. I always thought they would just get hit. That was what I was kind of taught and led to believe. No, like guys, if you trade this right, you can get away with tighter stop losses. And some of the consequences that happen when you have a tighter stop loss is this. One, okay, for the pro side of things, actually, let's start with the cons. The downside to having tighter stop losses is you take more losses, period. You just do. You take more losses, more frequent losses. But that's really the biggest downside I can think of. Really, that's really it. Is just taking more frequent losses and the frustration of having to set up more trades and resetting stuff and even though it is a small loss, it's still a loss. Like you still lost money. But the biggest pros to having a tighter stop loss is there's two that I can really think of. Number one, your reward to risk ratio just explodes, which is awesome because that means you're winning bigger typically and you're losing less when you do lose. I know it's more frequent, but you're still losing less. But here's the other consequence that I never really anticipated until I started doing this. The other real big consequence by having a bigger, there's going to be a tighter stop loss, is my lot size got bigger and I got more confident with my trading. So my lot size got bigger. What happened? I started taking these big wins. I'm starting to take these thousands of dollars in profits, right? Like I didn't used to take these profits all the time. Like I didn't get these types of wins. Like it was unheard of. Even months ago, I wasn't getting these types of multi-thousand-dollar profits. Like it was just a good day if I made a grand or two. And now here we are. We've had days this week. I had a day this week, I think Monday, I made 15,000. Today I'm up almost 9,000, right? That's happening now because I have these tighter reward to risk ratios, right? And so your winners become bigger naturally by doing that. But then the second thing that happens is because your confidence increases, because you feel good with your stop loss mechanism, your lot size also just gets bigger. And when that lot size gets bigger on quality trades, guess what happens to your bank account? I'll let you fill in the blank, right? So anyway, so that's been one of the things that happens when you have kind of like an undefined stop loss, like when your stop loss just gets like really wide on trades. You tend to make less money on those types of trades, even if you're winning very often, because you're you don't have a really defined stop loss, if that makes sense. Anyway, so just hope that's something, a little food for thought there. All right, guys. So I am going to, oh, I forgot I need to close this trade out. I closed it on my other account. I just need to close it here. Okay, so now I'm just left with basically Euro franc positions. And yeah, we're just kind of sitting at a consolidation level. I'm down 2 or 3 pips on each trade, not a big deal. It really reminds me of our trade yesterday from the Aussie franc. So we'll just let this thing continue to do its thing. Hopefully within the next couple of hours, we get our nice move up that we're hoping for on the banker's close trade. Do keep in mind, it is possible this thing comes down into this box before it comes up, which is fine. You know, either way, we'll get our money. I'm just letting you know, like, be aware of that on our banker's close trade. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for coming. Also, thanks to those of you that came to the COT report last night. I'll get that trade up, or get that class uploaded here in just a moment. Same thing with this class. I'll post some more signals tonight, swing trades / bankers close trades. So keep an eye out on those. And we'll see you guys tomorrow in the next webinar. So thanks for coming.